I am and will always be known as Kyle's dad. That's all anybody knows me as. And that's how I got involved. I was dragged kicking and screaming into this whole event.
I'm Diane, Kyle's mom. So that's how we're involved. Well, actually, I think it goes back to we weren't involved, and Kyle kept saying he was going to take this ride across the country, and I was like, yeah. And then we'd see him again. He lived in Sacramento at the time, and he was going to ride this trike across the country, and he found the trike, and yeah, Kyle, okay, yeah. And then I finally said, Mike, I think he's serious. I think he's going to do this, and I just don't think he should do it by himself. So that's how we got involved. Mike rode with him, and I drove the truck that pulled the trailer that we slept in every night.
I don't remember this. How was it when I was first diagnosed? Like, how did that news come, and what were you guys thinking at that time?
I was numb, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was something that just came out of nowhere, kind of. I mean, we had no idea. We'd been kind of going to the doctor for a couple of years, actually, when they said you had essential tremors or whatever, and you knew it was something different. And then to all of a sudden, come back with this diagnosis after, the genetic test, and, just to be told, well, this is what it is. And that was the only information we got. I mean, I went home and started looking at the internet and started researching, what was out there. And it was pretty dismal at that point, what was on the internet about Friedreich's ataxia, was, the average lifespan's like 20 years and, be in a wheelchair and, to be told that your son's going to die at age 30.
And you proved him wrong.
No, I was taken aback. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. And that, that took me a long time to even talk to our friends about it. And so I don't recall those interim years too well, really, other than, the diagnosis and then, finding Dr. Perlman. And that was a huge bonus. And so I think the appointments with her is what kind of brought us, out of the darkness.
Mm-hmm. When you were a senior in high school, we found her.
Yeah.
Right? And that when we made our first trip down. So
why do you think that was an important part of coming to grips with it?
I think it just felt good to talk to Dr. Perlman because she was somebody that had known about Friedreich's ataxia for a while and had seen other Friedreich's ataxia patients. And so I think it was helpful and comfortable. And even though she couldn't cure you, it was assuring. It was like, okay, there's somebody that knows we're here and what we're going through. And I don't know. Even though she could never do anything for you, it just felt good to keep going back there for a while.
You told me, I forget what you even said on the phone the other day when Dad was saying, talking about all the people that we met.
I think one of the things I remember is when that highway patrolman stopped you and Dad in Arizona. You guys were on the freeway and he wanted you to take the frontage road.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were still a ways from a place to get off the freeway. So he followed you till you were in a safe place and then told you that he and his son were planning a long distance riding trip. I met a lady in an RV park. I don't know where we were. And just told her what we were doing here. And she wrote me a check for $25. Didn't know me, just believed my story, my bike ride, my pulling the trailer, and made a donation.
Nice.
Yeah. There was the man that had a huge wooden cross, metal cross, I don't remember,
It was fiberglass.
aluminum, with a
Oh,
wheel
fiber.
on, with
Okay.
a wheel on it, and he was pulling it around the United States, and this was his 7th trip.
I think the scale of that feeling has diminished a little bit, just that's just naturally. But talk about like in the beginning when we got like $50.
I don't think we ever thought that much money could come. When you started the ride, your goal was $30,000, and I was just overwhelmed. I just thought that I couldn't even imagine us raising $30,000. It just, I thought you had lost your mind. I was thinking if we raised 10, if we set the goal at 10,000 and you made 7, maybe Dad and I could supplement it somehow. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but you know, I just was too overwhelmed. And I remember by the time we left, we had $40,000. We hadn't even left town yet, and we had $40,000. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
It's a whole experience between Kyle getting diagnosed, watching the program grow, watching like those initial like donations come in to where the program has grown now. Like how has it changed like your outlook on life and on people?
The generosity of people, it's hard to believe that people are, you just need to tell them. They just want to know, how can we help? What can we do? Where do we send our check? It's just, it's really, really nice. Very amazing. Mhm.
And what does that money mean to you guys as parents of, you know, someone living with FA?
Well, it's always every single day hoping that someone finds a cure, of course, is the ultimate, but just a way to help everybody keep healthy and keep doing what they're doing. And of course, Kyle is a very lucky person to be able to do what he does. I know it must be so hard physically for him to do what he does, and he never stops. He just keeps going and going and going. And that's amazing right there.
You know, from the first time I went on our little Mac computer at home and started looking up Friedreich's ataxia, to where we are now. I mean, that's with what have we got? Like, I don't know, 20 drug candidates or something in the pipeline, and you know, talking about you know, unique approaches to it. I mean, that's really what where all the money has gone, and it's amazing how far we've come from, what was that, back in 1999, I guess is when we first started, you know, looking at what was going on. There was absolutely nothing going on at that point, as near as I could tell anyway, to where we are today. And that's, you know, just, you know, the dramatic change is really impactful. And again, I go back to, you know, it's not so much the money as the number of people that are now involved. And a lot of that has to do with Ride Ataxia, I think, of bringing the community together.
Why do you think that people like coming to the ride? Oh,
Well, I think the rides make a great social event, and I think it's so great that Ataxians can come. If they ride, that's great. If they don't, it's a good place to visit and connect with people, and connect with other Ataxians. A lot of them are the only one around, or the only one you know of, because some people aren't interested in sharing. And so I think that makes a great event. I also think that people feel like they're doing something to help the cause. They are maybe not doctors or nurses or scientists, and are not going to be in the room when the big cure happens. And this is something they can do, and they can do every year. And some people ask all their friends for a donation and tell them, this is the only time I'm doing this one time a year. I won't ask you again. And I think it really, it's a fun event too. When you get there, everybody has a good time.